This is my critical reflection for working with actors directing the dramatic scene. I was originally intending working with one of the drama students. I tried contacting several, however they either did not respond or were too busy with an end-of-term production to be able to volunteer to help me. My group also struggled to find any, and so we went about trying to find individual people separately. I then tried contacting some other students, but they would only be free when term resumed in this new year, which would not have given me time before the deadline. I then decided to do the project over the holidays as I have connections to a theatre. However, due to a family member contracting COVID-19, I was then isolating, due to my medical conditions and NHS advice, and could not film with outside people, so had to film with another member of my family. Originally, when I was looking for students to act in my piece, I had chosen a part for a male and a part for a female, as I wasn't sure which actors/people would be available. For the male role, I chose Peter Parker's opening monologue from Into the Spider-Verse, and for the female role, I chose Gwen Stacy's speech from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I picked them because the characters were roughly similar age to the people I was looking to get. Also, I hoped that other young people would be familiar with the characters. However, once I finalised my actor, they tried the Gwen Stacy script, but they did not feel comfortable with doing this part. We then looked for other roles they were more familiar with. We eventually settled on Ebenezer Scrooge's dialogue around when he sees his own future grave in A Christmas Carol. This role is male, but in the context of the scene of someone seeing their future, the gender of the character does not really matter. We also decided this scene would be good as it has the opportunity for a variety of emotions and movements within a monologue. The scene has Scrooge reflecting on his life and vowing to change. I wanted to convey Scrooge's emotions that he goes throughout the scene, as well as his fear of the strange situation that he has found himself in. I also wanted to convey his initial concern of what would happen if he does not change, as well as his determination and promise that he is going to change. I wanted my actor to combine use of speech and movement in order to get across these emotions to the audience and allow them to connect with the character. I wanted them to feel his fear, but also his repentance and determination to change. The scene is set in a graveyard, and so I also wanted to film in a similar location, as it is the most suitable place. I know the vicar of my local parish, and after looking into possible filming locations, I asked them for permission to film in a churchyard, since I thought it would work with the scene, and it would be atmospheric for something involving a ghost, as well as having a gravestone, which is very important for the scene. Filming in this location with a gravestone also hopes to get across the fear of death, as well as the idea of self-reflection and forgiveness. It also brings Scrooge's character full circle, as earlier in the story he does not care if people die. I had a conversation with my actor about how they felt about the character and what they thought the character would be feeling in this scene. I did this to both make sure the actor understood the character, but also to make sure we were both on a similar vein regarding the character before I went too in depth with directions. I feel it is important for the actor to understand the character before starting on the actual scene. Feel they need to have understanding of the character and what they are thinking at that moment in order to be able to convey that character to the audience. I also did not want to start trying to direct the actor if we had completely opposing views regarding how we thought the character felt, as this would cause complications on what message and feelings got portrayed to the audience. After they had spent some time learning the dialogue, I went over the way in which I wanted it said and delivered. We went through the script in sections, going over the lines with me explaining how I wanted certain lines said. I also allowed for their input if they felt a line should be delivered differently to the idea I had regarding it. I also looked at a few examples online of people's performances of this section from A Christmas Carol, and I found that they did not seem to vary their voice much. However, I felt the scene had several opportunities for more voice variation. I discussed this with my actor, who agreed, and we established that at points Scrooge is more pleading and scared, while at others he is more forceful and determined, and so we decided which areas required voice variation and how this would be done. Use of more voice variation would allow the audience to understand the range of emotions Scrooge is going through, as well as help better connect to his shock at the situation he has found himself in. When it came to directing the movements, I waited until a filming location had been confirmed, as depending on the layout etc. of where we were filming, the directions may have been different or needed changing. Once the location was chosen, me and the actor had a discussion and went over the movements on location. In regard to the movement, there was the main set piece of the gravestone. We had to make sure the blocking was sorted so the actor was not obstructed from view. We also did not have a physical Spirit of Christmas yet to come, so had to decide on exactly where the actor would look while addressing lines to the spirit. Once we had sorted these, we then had a discussion regarding exactly where the actor would move and what movements they would be doing. Again, I allowed for the actor to have some input on what they would be comfortable with and whether there was anything additionally they wanted to do, where they then suggested doing some additional hand gestures. I directed on what I wanted the actor to approach the grave, and then what I wanted them to do once they did, such as falling to their knees in despair upon reading the name on the stone. For the final performance, the movement and speech came together to help portray Scrooge's feelings to the viewer. Towards the start, Scrooge is filled with trepidation, and so the actor used a more cautious tone and slowly approached the stone. Once they read the name on the stone, the actor then drops down, pleading dramatically to show Scrooge's fear and confusion as to why he was being given lessons if he has already passed the point of redemption. Then the actor rises and uses a more positive tone to try and highlight Scrooge's promise to the spirits and hope that he can and will change his ways. Right at the end, the actor then falls back down with a saddened cry to convey Scrooge's continued fear and pleading with the spirit for reassurance that he definitely can change. We also filmed on a cloudy day as it would match the ominous tone of the scene. It was also slightly snowing, which fitted to the Christmas setting. This use of location, movement and voice helps the audience to engage with the performance as they can understand the tone of the scene, as well as Scrooge's internal struggles with who he is and how he can change. Overall, I believe the directing and performance went well. I believe I was able to adapt to the fact that both the actor nor the scene were what I initially intended. The actor was good at listening to my directions, as well as providing their own suggestions on things they felt fitted to the character and or scene. I think the final performance was successful, as they were able to combine both the speech and movement as I directed, and in turn were able to convey the changing emotions of Scrooge and the importance of the situation he is in.